this is my review. At that time, I got reincarnated as a slime. Okay, so immediately after the battle, Rimuru decides it would be a good idea to form an alliance between all the existing races. He starts off the meeting by stating that he's never held a meeting before, because he hasn't, and then also dismisses the orcs of all their crimes because he knows that the orcs were not only under the influence of the Orc Lord's starved ability, but he also knows that they were in a desperate situation and knows that they can't be entirely to blame for what they would do to get themselves out of that situation. So he decides to forge an alliance between everybody. He decides to have the lizardmen provide fish and a clean water source. He has the orcs provide labor, and then Rimuru himself and all of his people would provide imported goods. And then he also names the new leader of the orcs after his father, Geld, and then proceeds to name all the other orcs, which puts him in another coma-like trance for several days, because, of course. And there's also a scene in here where Geld Jr., I guess, is genuinely upset and wants to try and make peace between him and the Kaijin, but the Kaijin just tell him that as long as he does the best job he can, that there's really no real reason for him to apologize, and because there's no reason for them to be enemies. And Rimuru is named Chancellor of the Alliance, because of course he is. And within a matter of days, all of the people have settled into their respective roles, and now they have, in their city, they have running water, they have buildings that are actually made out of brick, and it's all a nice time around. It doesn't last for very long, however, as King Dwargo, who has heard all of this and heard about Rimuru's exploits, decides to see what kind of person he is, and flies in on Pegasi, I don't know, with all of his armored knights, and challenges Rimuru to a one-on-one duel to see what kind of person he is. And Rimuru gladly accepts and decides to face off against King Dwargo, who isn't a pushover and is definitely skilled with a sword, but Rimuru is able to easily block all of his blows, including a disappearing attack where he vanishes and then strikes without warning. But Rimuru, having trained with that move, because as we find out later, Hakuro did indeed train Dwargo, he is able to deflect the move, and it's at this point where Dwargo and Hakuro have a happy reunion. And Dwargo reveals that he was upset about the increase in powerful monsters in the forest lately, and then realizing that Rimuru was doing it and wasn't a bad person, decides to form an alliance with him, as well as also end his exile, I guess, because now that they're an alliance, there's no need for the exile. So, and Rimuru has to come up with a name for his nation on the spot, so he takes part of the name from Jura Forest and is named Rimuru Tempest, and forms the Jura Tempest Federation. And then everybody decides to name the capital city after Rimuru. And in the manga it's named Tempest, I believe, but for whatever reason in the anime it's named Rimuru, and I believe Rimuru does eventually change the name of the city, but because obviously naming it after your leader is a little brash. And it's at this point, and now that the Federation has been accepted by the King Dwargo and the city of Dwargon, now they have a thing to do. So, yeah, definitely going to be an interesting second part. Also, they have a new OP up now, so it's definitely supposed to signify that it's a different arc of the anime, and it's now going to be about the world building stuff, which I'm excited for. But I'm happy that Rimuru and King Dwargon were able to settle their differences and finally become alliances. And also, a little side note is that Gabiru is exiled by his father Abiru, who Rimuru named before leaving, for treason, obviously. And he and his band of followers leave, but not before receiving a parting gift of one of the little trident things. And he's also expecting the death penalty, because obviously treason is a pretty high crime. I mean, but he's excommunicated anyway. Is only in there for like 5 minutes, but it does show that yes, old Gabiru was excommunicated for his crimes, which I accepted. I expected that to happen. He's no longer allowed to be called a lizard man, and he's no longer allowed to live with the lizard men. Although that is his race, I don't know. But anyway, he's not a member of the lizard man race anymore. He's his own. He's been excommunicated and is no longer a member of the race. So I'm assuming he's going to meet up with Rimuru at some point and ask for forgiveness or something like that, because that's something that he mentions in what he believes to be his final moments. So definitely an interesting thing, and Gabiru is definitely genuinely upset by his own actions, so he's definitely going to try and make up for that in later episodes, which I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. I mean, he's one of 2 people who's been excommunicated for what they've done, the other being Bester, so I'm assuming he's going to play in at some point as well. But I'm not entirely sure how, and that's where it's going to get interesting. So, if you guys have seen this episode of That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime, what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, hit that like and the subscribe button. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below, and also check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It helps me out, and it's a great way to show your support. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace! Especially you. You're going to die. You're going to keel over and die if I don't do something. Oh, but you leveled up, so it doesn't ultimately matter.